Hey, my name's Armando, and I wanted my phone to stand out a little bit from the rest. So I decided to do it in VR. I wanted it to be a little more comfortable and personal. I don't want it to be like a video essay where you just look at pictures that, frankly, I don't really have because I don't take many, at least not of myself. In this video, I'll cover a little bit about my high school experience and what I've learned in school and what I've learned about just living life in general and interacting with people and what I want to do with my life. Going from junior high to high school was a shock to the system, definitely. I'd had to be independent for the first time in my life and went from being a hobby or an activity to being a full-time job where I'd dedicate all my time, effort, and study and do school. Well, with the first couple years of junior high and high school was definitely due to my sixth grade teacher. He was more interested in giving no homework and getting on the kids' good sides rather than teaching us basic steps of math like y equals mx plus b, which is the basis for all of algebra, and understanding how equations worked, which caused me to play a game of catch-up for the 2 years of junior high math. And then as I entered into high school, I didn't have much hope for math, and it felt more like an obligatory class. But as I took Algebra 1, I actually started to understand the concepts and went in for tutoring and started to grow. And I did geometry because being a very kinesthetic person, I would look at a triangle, I would see each individual point on it, each angle, and I'd be able to understand that as like a graph. The graphs of sine, cosine, and tangent. The other 10 classes I had taken weren't really too impactful, honestly. I did love them. Exceptions to those were biology and geology, which were pointing me into the direction of a STEM field, which I ended up being engineering. I found that when I found all that kind of wash away a little bit when we went into class one day in History Mason, because I was talking with my two friends there. We'd just been told that we're getting a free week off of school, which at the time sounded amazing. I mean, what more could you ask for than free time off school in the middle of the school year that nobody was expecting, heard on the news previously? And we hadn't thought much of it. We thought it would blow by like anything else. We basically told it was similar to the flu. So we'd ignored it, but we didn't know how impactful or severe it would be. It ended up leaving us, a lot of us, feeling isolated because we were all forced to stay home. And we were younger still, 15, 16. So we were forced to stay in our houses. We couldn't drive anywhere. We couldn't go anywhere. We had to wear masks everywhere. And our parents wanted us to stay safe, so we felt isolated from one another. And while you can connect over things like the cloud, Wi-Fi, games, calling, you end up feeling a lot more drawn in, and it was a big detriment to the way we learned and interacted with each other. It takes a lot of time to break those habits of school life cycle that you'd feel trapped in, and the way those two were so closely related that it often brought on a feeling of not being able to escape from the stresses of school constantly pressing down on you. When we went back into physical school, after taking Algebra 2, which was a very hard course online, and I decided to take Pre-Calculus, which was a big step, and one that I'm very glad I did take because the class did challenge me, but breaking through those challenges and solving those problems really, it's a really rewarding feeling, and has really given me the momentum to keep on doing math into my college profession, which will be engineering. I feel like I've gained skills on how to study and how to talk with other people and how to be able to interact with stuff like schools and jobs and work. And I feel like I can navigate life just a little bit better because of it. I found I tried to appeal to a lot of other people, and that I completely changed in high school, trying to make friends like that. When you try to appeal or appease people, you really only earn the short-term attention that makes you feel good in the moment, but the long-term engagement and attachment never really ever sticks around. That's kind of when I found out. I was like, wow, I need to change my approach, and I need to find out what I'm doing wrong. And I found that rather than trying to make other people think you're somebody or think you're something, just being more of who you are, embracing your hobbies and your personality and all the things that make you, you'll often bring out the people you would never think would ever want to engage with you or ever want to be friends with you. And you actually really get to learn people more. You get to get that long-term engagement. You build deep friendships that last, all through high school and hopefully, into later life as well if you maintain them and constantly keep good communication. I found all these superficial things like high school cliques and all these artificial barriers that life makes are completely disregardable. COVID kind of proved that because no matter how popular we were in high school, these factors didn't matter at all because they could easily be taken away. COVID proves that. And I found out what's more important with high school is making friends and making connections, because after high school, that's all that's going to be there is the people you know and the knowledge you gain from it. Because we live in, usually live in a bubble, and the only things that can influence that are other people. And once you start getting to know other people, your world becomes a little bit smaller, or the outside world starts to become a little bit smaller, and yours becomes a little bit bigger. That one person may help you in a time of need. You finish college and you're ready to get out there in the world. And one person may have a connection to a career you want. And if you never talk to them in high school, there's no way you'd ever know that, or there's no way they'd ever want to help you be able to get into that career field. It goes back the same way as well, because you're there for those people when they need it. I first went in high school, I didn't really know where to turn to. But in junior high, I'd been in a program called First Lego League, which when I'd heard that the program director, which was Mrs. Fredericks, at the junior high had a husband doing the same in the high school I was going to, I was ecstatic. I got to use real robots with fully machined parts. And I took a college course during the robotics program where I learned how to use a CNC machine and use CAD, computer-aided design, to model the different parts that I'd be milling out of solid blocks of aluminum and steel. And it became a really, really fun program for me that I became very, very attached to. But due to the 40-hour work weeks during our freshman year, both grade-wise and mentally, I couldn't do it, and I couldn't understand why at the time, but I do now. Also did photography. More specifically, I had started when I was very, very young, and using my mom's fixed lens Canon to be able to take photos. And I have a lot of photos that I had taken, and they weren't very good, but I started to grow an eye as I got older, and I kind of lost interest in the passion a little bit because I didn't really see it as anything viable until I went to high school. Junior year, I decided to apply for both, photo one and video production, and I got really into the program. I got a really good eye for photography. I put a lot of work in, and I would take a lot of photos, end up even doing yearbook that following year, as well as start to take photos for my church, which got put in newsletters, and it became my first real big part of public works. And I'm hoping to get hired on to their team to be able to keep on doing this alongside college. I'm really, really passionate and excited to do this. And it all kind of stemmed from things that high school had built upon me that had really invigorated stuff that I knew I loved, and had pointed that passion into something productive that I could really grab hold of, that was tangible, and that I could take into a college environment and beyond.